Hey, welcome back everybody. It's JP with Max TR3 Revival coming back at you. So in this video we're going to cover keys and locks, which I thought I was done with, but I wasn't happy with a couple of the items that I got replacement wise. So decided to go back and take a look at it and make a few changes, which you'll see moving forward. Also have been trying to hunt down more of the front end parts, and the reason why I'm having difficulty is when I took this apart, I was new to the whole restoration process thing, so I didn't bag and tag the parts properly, so finding some of the nuts and the bolts is been challenging. I'm just taking my time with that to make sure I have it all correct before I put it back together. I'll cover a couple of extra parts that came up and had questions about. So I also got a little help from a few of my friends in regards to some parts that I had bought already replacement wise. Let's have some fun. Hopefully you'll get something out of this. If you haven't done it, hit that like and subscribe button. I'd sure appreciate it.
All right, so here we go. This is what I got going on. Trying to update one of those spreadsheets that I keep up. Ordered some parts and got some items in. Just want to kind of track. The stuff you see that's in yellow there, those are the things I'm crossing off that I've got installed or ready to be installed anyway. They're not in the boxes anymore. They're pretty much being checked off as far as utilized. So that way I can keep an eye on parts that I installed, how much they were, and that kind of thing. Still looking for the rear shackle brackets. Putting together a list of what I need next as far as parts are concerned. I'm seeing if I can't get the front bush kit in as far as all of the components and get to the point where I can put the bottom plates on so I can put the coil springs in. Just trying to find little things like the locking bolts for the trunnion. And I found some, but had to kind of recut the threads. So what I'm doing is using the old one to run it down and make sure I got it so it'll get tight enough. And just a wrench, you know. And then if you look right here, there's a little grease fitting that's here. And so finding that in the proper location. Took the little spacers out, which I got from Mike up in Alaska. Throwing a little paint on those. What else I ran across was I was looking at this right here. This is the old spring that came out and the original aluminum spacer. And when I ordered some of this stuff a long time ago, you gotta know all the difference in similarities or differences of models and springs and those kind of things. And I know a lot of people have spoke really badly about springs, the replacement ones, but it's what I got to deal with. I had one that was in pretty bad shape. So the spacer here, and I checked with one of my two gurus on the web, which I share their channel information with, and they say to run the replacement ones without the aluminum spacer, which puts them about the same height. Now, ride quality, I know some people have talked badly about them, but it is what I have to work with. That's what I'm going to do. Slow progress, whatever you want to call it. And then I'm still bagging and tagging some parts. Snow on the ground outside, it's super cold, but I'm hanging in here with the heater today, getting some stuff done. I'm back working on the actual switches. I had to get a new one because my post was broken off on this one. And I thought I had the original console dash set up, but somehow I got them mixed up with some of the parts that I had got. Okay, so what we're back to is I realized that number one, the replacement one has this kind of a bezel squared off. The original one has the one with the slots. So I'm trying to go back with this one. So I got it to fit basically on there. I got the cylinders taken out. If you don't know how to do that process, there's a hole right here. And on the back of this cylinder is a little pin. And it has to be in the on position in order for that pin to line up so you can pull it out. If you don't have a key, you can get a key made and then go from there, or you have to pick it, which is what I did. What I'm gonna do is Now I'm going to take the one that matches all the rest of the locks that I have, so they'll all be the same, and put it back in here and then get it remounted on here. So here we go. I'd say I got a win. So the tool here I made, it's just an old piece of metal that works for a lock. I just cut a slot so it'll fit on either side and allow it to turn this bezel, but contact both sides at the same time. Let's see if you can get that. Look at that, you can see I got both sides at the same time. And of course, it's a whole lot easier to grab one tool and then do that than two. Tighten down, everything's good and snug. It ain't going anywhere. And I got the correct plug in. That's a win, I can wrap that up. The only thing I'm waiting on now is the choke cable. But there you go. Sometimes you make the tools to make it work. And that's just what it looks like. Just a little slot cut into a piece of metal that'll fit on either side of the bezel. One more job done. This is going to be my attempt at repairing handle that I've got that has a broken stud on it. I've tried different things and I've not been able to get that loose. So I did find a spare lock handle assembly, and I know this is kind of just peened over here on the end. I'm gonna try and disassemble this and see if I can get this section off. It's a little worse in shape than this one is, but you know, I'm sure I can polish it up some. Just grind this back and I'll be able to pull this cap off. And I think as long as it's not in the lock position, which it's not, it should slide off. If you're in the lock position, the little tab that's on the back of this cylinder here will be poking out, so it wouldn't probably come off. But I think in this instance, with it being unlocked, it will. Just gonna clean these up a little bit, brush this off, and grind these back. This is a spare one that somebody had that I got in a bin of parts, and I think it's worth it to me. Give it a shot. That's my course of action. All right, so here we go. I got the tabs punched back in and was able to get the little cover off. Let's see if you can see that. Then of course you got a couple springs on here. Just one, a washer. You see right there. And then that whole piece right there comes out. So I should be able to do the same thing in reverse on the extra handle. And then put this back in and then pin it over, or I could stick a roll pin through it. Either way, I just need something to hold that cap down once you get it back together. So once you get that cap back down, you just need something to kind of hold it in there. It looks like the original thing was they just peened it here. I don't know how well that'll hold up. Once the assembly's in the door, it really doesn't matter, but I should be able to take this assembly off this one and then put the stud on with that, which will fix my issue. All right, so this just goes to show you that all these locks have information on them. And I didn't think it had a number on it, but I had to lightly sand this in order to get to the number. So if you look right there, it was underneath rust, kind of like that. But if you look right there, that says 650. So if I know that, I could take that to a lock shop, have them make a key or order a key online. This right here is the little lock and lug that I was talking about, that little square shaped piece of stock. And how it locks is, if you look at the back of the cylinder here, it'll go one of 4 positions. They're 90 degrees to each other. So when you put it back together, obviously if you turn the handle one way, it's going to be in the unlocked position. The other way will be to open the door. So when you get it back and it's lined up and you turn the key, that little lug will go into one of these square cutouts, and that's what creates the lock. There you go. So here we go with the operation of the lock. If you watch, when you turn that cylinder, that lug right there is what locks or unlocks it. So out in that position is unlocked, out in this position is locked. And that, like I said, contacts that hub in the handle assembly part. But also you'll see, if you ever have to change one of these cylinders, right here in the top of the handle is a roll pin. That roll pin goes through from here to here. And that's what holds that cylinder in. So if you drive that pin out, you can pull that whole assembly out, get to the spring. There's a spring or something back here, and then the lock has a little piece on the end of it that contacts this hub. The locking mechanism contacts this locking mechanism right here and moves it side to side. So there's just a little tab about the size of this on the back of this key cylinder that rotates, and that's what locks or unlocks it. So now that I got this off, the old one with a broken part, and I made sure I kept the orientation right because I think it makes a difference because this is angled. Put that back in. There's a little washer that goes in first, then the locking hub, the little spring assembly, then the cap. So that's kind of all put back together, and you'll see that locks and unlocks. So I'm going to try and pin these little edges back over right here. My camera will focus. That doesn't work. I can stick a roll pin in right through the center. All right, through the magic of time, you'll notice that it's all back together. Right here. Like I said, I could put a roll pin on it. I don't think it's necessary. But the objective was to get it so I have a way to mount it, which I do now. And that's going to work. Plus it's on the same key that it was before. The job done. So now trunk lock, glove box, both the doors and the ignition are all in the same key. Not sure if it came that way from the factory or not, but since I found all the locks that match those numbers, that's why I decided to go back with it. Well, hope you learned something. Got any questions about any of this kind of stuff, let me know.